Welcome to the Adventures of Adam. I'm Adam. Let's adventure, and welcome to my free-to-play Rares Only Plus challenge. In this series, I'll be progressing through the game using champions who are rare, uncommon, or common, plus any champion who is free and permanently available to all players. So, with that out of the way, let's dive in. Currently, we are on day 81. My most recent 6-star has been Soul Bond Bowyer, and I gotta tell you what, I've been very impressed with the difference it's made between from 50 to 60 has been a big difference. I'm confident that once I finish her masteries, she can replace my Shield Guard as my campaign farmer, and it will significantly increase the time it takes me to farm campaign every day. So I'm really looking forward to that. In terms of dungeon progression, having 6-starred Soulbond Bowyer, I can now auto-farm Spider stage 15. However, for the tournament, I've been farming stage 10 because it yields more tournament points per energy than any other stage until you get to level 20. So this is where I've been farming for the tournament in order to gain fragments for the new Eolstrid fusion. However, this new current temporary fusion is not within the parameters of my challenge. However, High Mother Mod is. So I'm going to be collecting Ostrid fusion fragments so I could hopefully convert those into fragments for High Mother Mod. Also, I'm up to 74 Drexlar fragments, 45 of Yakarl, 21 of Archmage Helmet, and 10 for Yannica. Also, you may have noticed I've got 30 for Jamartia. Now, I did not ask anyone to do this, however, somebody volunteered to do this. Dark Boon, thank you very much. I appreciate the effort. Hammering away, he's already level 30. If you would be interested in doing this for me as well, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know in the comments and I'll get you a referral link. However, I just want to say that even though Chronum is free and permanently available to all players, I won't be using him to progress through normal dungeons. The only place where I plan to use Chronum specifically is to farm Sand Devil 25 because of all the champions available to me, there are none who have a revive on death mechanic that will allow me to farm Sand Devil. So Chronum's the only one. This is still so far in the future that it's not even like on my radar. Great Hall, we're coming along nicely. Um, I'm I'm planning to do something that would be contradictory to conventional wisdom. And hear me out because I think it's going to be actually a very smart thing. I say as I toot my own horn. Conventional wisdom states that crit damage is better to invest in over attack percentage because every champion who lands a crit benefits from crit damage. So with that said, it stands to reason that crit damage will give you more value for your account. And for most people that is true. However, I can on some days with good RNG 2-key Nightmare. However, some days I fall pretty short. So the more incremental gains I can get on my clan boss team, the less I am at the mercy of variance. So in order to try to make my clan boss runs a little bit more consistent, I want to add attack to Frozen Banshee and Gravechill Killer. This will give them more steady, consistent damage. The reason I don't want to do crit damage is because out of everyone on my clan boss team, Gravechill Killer has the highest crit rate of 42%. That means 48% of the time, she's not even going to get value from that stat. And it's even a bigger margin for Frozen Banshee. She's only got 24% crit damage. So 76% of the time, she's not going to gain value from crit damage. Also, even though my Coffin Smasher has damage that is based off HP, he still has the Phantom Touch Blessing, and damage from Phantom Touch scales off his attack. So scaling attack will actually improve his damage slightly. Not as much as Frozen Banshee and Gravechill, but he still will gain a damage boost. And speaking of Phantom Touch, my Gravechill Killer has 3-star Phantom Touch. So she's got the extra percent chance to inflict the Phantom Touch bonus, so it's sort of double dipping because her damage does scale off attack, and she could actually hit reasonably hard for a rare. So even though This goes against conventional wisdom. I think putting points into attack is the right play to help smooth out the variance. Every little incremental gain I can get will help me make sure I can get that 2 key a little bit more consistently. So, yeah, I think that's my plan. And just because I'm doing it doesn't necessarily mean that's the right play for you. You're going to have to kind of evaluate things. If all of your champions are crit capped, then obviously crit damage is more valuable. But for me, that's not the case. So that's why I'm going to invest and attack this clan versus clan. And I have about 1,200 medals to do so. Speaking of Great Hall medals, Soulbond Bowyer at level 60 has been massive. So normally, this Arbiter right here, this 85,000 power Arbiter, I probably wouldn't be able to kill them. But we're going to see how it goes with... Like, normally Shield Guard would be on this team instead of Soulbond Bowyer. And I just wouldn't have enough damage, or she would deal too much damage and kill me before I could kill her. Because Arbiter heals herself whenever she does that skill right there. Or no, it's the other one. Okay, so decreased defense got resisted. Let's see the Soulbond. Oh, that she did her. No, that was the A2. That ignores defense. So huge chunk of damage because it ignores 80% of defense between the skill itself ignoring 75 and an extra 5% ignore defense from the cruel set she's wearing. It hits extremely hard, much harder than it would otherwise. So because of Soulbond Bowyer's A2 hitting so much harder, like she dealt 33,000 damage compared to Aethel's 7,300, and Aethel attacked like 2 or 3 times. So it just puts things into perspective. Just how significant that A2 has been. If I was still using Shield Guard on this team, I would not have beat this Arbiter. And I would have failed. So having Soulbond has allowed me to farm extra medals for my Great Hall at a significantly increased rate. It's been extremely awesome. Hopefully we'll see another example of it here. Yeah, 37,000. Now, I might have been... I probably would have beat this one with Shield Guard because Tomb Lord never even attacked us. He just debuffed us. But yeah, the A2 and the A3 are very hard single target abilities. And also, I've been going back and forth today. I haven't been doing too much arena because I'm trying to save my tokens for CVC because it's just worth a lot of points. But I was in first place in the arena tournament earlier this week. I'm in second right now. And the guy who's ahead of me isn't ahead of me by that significant margin. So I probably won't get back into first because I am saving my medals for my tokens for CVC to put up more points. And speaking of CVC, I believe arena objectives are ×2. So I really do want to help my clan put up as many points as possible. And on the note of CVC and as many points as possible, Spider... Because I have been farming stage 10 in Spider, because that's what yields the most tournament points. However, once CVC starts, Spider 10 is only worth 20 points, but Spider 15, where I could farm, is worth 40. I tried 16 earlier and I couldn't quite get it, so I'll probably finish the tournament farming stage 15, so I can get good tournament points and help my clan in CVC as much as possible. In terms of other fusion fragments, I haven't collected any fragments from Dungeon Divers or Artifact Enhancement because to me those are some of the most stressful events and I just don't want to mess with it, especially since I'm not actually trying to get the fusion. I'm just trying to pick up fragments to get High Mother Mod eventually. So because it's not worth the stress to me, I'm not even messing with it. I'd rather just enjoy the game at a casual pace and get High Mother Mod fragments. However, in terms of the tournaments, I've gotten all of the fragments that have been offered so far, except for Spider, which I will get once CVC starts. I'm about 700 points shy here. We'll knock that out in no time. So I managed to do the Champion Chase, which gave me 15 fragments and a legendary book. And then I managed to get the legendary book from the Champion Training as well. So now I'm up to 20 legendary books. So this means I can fully book my Drexlar, and then I'm only like 1 or 2 books shy from fully booking either Yakarl the Scourge or Seal of the Drakes when I obtain them. And at the rate at which I'm accumulating these, there's a very good chance that I'll be able to fully book both as they come into my account. Same thing with Vizix the Unbowed as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting those champions built. They're going to be massive for the progression. Not just because I'm only using rares and they're legendaries, it's because they are actually legitimately great champions and they will massively empower my account. And if you're free to play, you should consider working towards Ykarl and Drexthar because they are huge. In terms of faction wars, the only big gains I've gotten, it happens to be open today, is I managed to beat the boss with my 2 Abyssals. I leveled these up to beat the first stage of Lost City, just because they have AoEs. I put them on lifesteal gear and just let them AoE the waves down. It took me about 5 or 6 runs to get good RNG. I had to build them with a little bit of resistance so they could resist the fears and the poisons and the burns, and eventually they were able to do it, and they managed to keep pushing up to stage 10. So I made some pretty decent progress in Faction Wars this past week. Orcs is kind of a joke. I don't have any orc worth a damn. It's just been really bad. There's only a small handful of good rare orcs in this game, so orcs is going to be a very challenging faction for Faction Wars for me. Even though it's not a particularly difficult faction overall, just with the lack of good champions I'm going to have access to, I'm really going to struggle. Once again, in typical Adam fashion, my alarm went off for Drexthar and I forgot to pick up the fragment, so once again my Drexthar fragment timer has been pushed back. Frustrating, but it is what it is. I really wish they would make it so that whenever at midnight UTC, when the quests and everything reset, that the timer on Drexthar would be set to 0 as well. Like, I don't know what they're trying to do by putting it on this 24-hour clock. It doesn't significantly inflate or deflate. Like, it would just be a nice quality of life that would have no significant impact on Plarium, but it would be a huge benefit for the players. So there's really no downside to fixing it that way. I just don't see why they don't do it. I don't know. But that would be great. So Plarium, if you're watching this, probably not. But if you are, consider that change. It would be so beneficial for so many people. Again, Clan Boss, we haven't made a whole lot of progression. It went forced today, so I had to 3 key, and I got it by the skin of my teeth. 39.17 million is my score, and you need 39.166. So we got the 3 key, but just barely. Once I put my tokens in to increase the attack of Frozen Banshee and Grave Chill, I'm going to try to do 2 keys as soon as Clan Boss resets. Instead of putting a key in on Brutal today, I decided to skip it and save a key, so I'll have 2 keys to put in at reset. And I'm going to, hopefully, after increasing the attack in my Great Hall, it'll be enough to consistently get to a 2 key, because my first key against Void was just over 19 million. So if I can get 2 keys like that every day, I'll be good to go. And then I can put 1 key in on Brutal, which I did finally get a 1 key. So I have unlocked quick battles. So this is a massive quality of life. So we'll be able to 1 key Brutal or 2 key if we fall short, but 1 key Brutal in High Hopes, and then we can put our 4th key in on Hard, and this will increase the amount of gems, bruise, silver, cruel, immortal gear, all that good stuff that we can potentially get every day. So that'll be a huge boost if I can get to that consistent 2 key. I've gotten the 2 key before, but it's high variance. In terms of Hydra, I did improve my damage from last week. I think I did about 750,000. Now we're up to 869,000. So still a long ways off getting the bottom chest, which will be massive because Mithrala, free permanently available champion, falls within the parameters of my challenge. She is another one who will be massive for the progression on this account. She's going to be instrumental in a few places in particular that I'm thinking of further on down the road. So that'll be great. This week I put up on my community, I did a community poll asking you guys who you thought I should 6-star next, Kayle or Coldheart. And the overwhelming majority of you guys went with Coldheart, as seen in the diagram above, 86-14. Now, I'm wondering if the majority of you who voted in favor of Coldheart, if you were unaware that I had already 6-starred Soul Bond Bowyer, or if you just, you know, I mean, obviously Cold Heart is great. I'm not disputing that. But for my account specifically, I've already got someone who can fill a very similar role to Cold Heart in Soul Bond Bowyer, and her damage is very good. Um, that's not to say I won't build Cold Heart eventually. I just think moving forward, Kale is going to be more helpful in the area where I have yet to progress, and that's Ice Golem. Not only that, but I believe he will help to significantly reduce the time that my runs in Dragon 20 take. I can fully auto farm Dragon 20. When I'm playing on my phone, it takes about 5 minutes per run. So if I can reduce that time, it would be significant. And on top of that, I could already farm on full auto stage 17 of Fire Knight. And stage 17 of Fire Knight is the exact same enemies that you face on stage 20. So because I can full auto farm stage 17, I'm confident that if I can get over the hump of stage 19, I'll be able to full auto farm stage 20 as well. And because I'm already able to farm stage 20, I'm less incentive. Well, sorry, I guess because I believe I'm already going to be able to farm stage 20, I'm less incentivized to build another turn meter champion, especially since I've already 6-starred Armiger and Soulbond Bowyer. It just doesn't make sense to build a third turn meter champion right now. With that said, I have done a bit of theory crafting, and I believe that it would be possible for me to use Soulbond and Coldheart on stage 20 of Fire Knight. I would have to stagger their turn meter skills because they're each on a 4-turn cooldown. So if I don't do it the setup right, the shield will come back up in between, So I'll have to stagger it so I get one full turn meter depletion once every 2 turns. But even with a setup like that, I'd be at high risk to get hosed by resist RNG. So even with something like that, it's still not perfect. I would be better, like, for safety reasons and consistency of runs, I'd be better off using Armiger alongside one or the other. And because Soulbond has such hard hitting skills on her A1, A2, and her AoE, her AoE A1, her A2, and her A3, for the time being, I think until my champions are just fast enough that I can get away with it, I think Soulbond is going to be the better choice for Fire Knight and maybe even Spider in the short term. And speaking of Spider, I'm so far away from Spider 20 that it's not even like I'm not going to be able to touch Spider 20 until I get Drexthar. And maybe even Yakarl, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep Drexthar alive with all the Spiderlings attacking him. So, with that said, I do plan to max Coldheart eventually. I just, in the short term, I don't think she's quite worth it just yet. So I think I'm going to go with Kale for my next 6-star. If you think I'm talking crazy and you have a good argument for Coldheart over Kale that I haven't covered yet, feel free to let me know. Maybe you're right. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you saw the post regarding how there wasn't going to be an update this week, obviously disregard that because I at least fingers crossed for the time being, my internet is currently working, so I should be able to upload this. I actually re-recorded the whole thing. Long story, not going to go into it here. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you in another video soon. But until next time, guys, happy raiding.